The banker who cracked the world's oldest cold case, a body washed ashore. The ocean, with its endless rhythm, held tight to its secrets. December 1st, 1948, a day when a man died, his identity slipping through history's fingers like sand through an hourglass. No name. No cause. Just a folded scrap of paper with the words "Temem Shud" ended, printed on it. Australia's most perplexing mystery, a case so deep, governments tried and failed to solve it. But then, decades later, in a quiet office, far removed from police stations and government investigations, a man who had once studied the stars turned his attention to something just as elusive, a body found at the foot of the universe. Derek Abbott wasn't a detective. He wasn't a journalist. He was a physicist-turned-banker. And yet, for nearly 20 years, he couldn't let the mystery of the Somerton Man go. The puzzle haunted him. Not because of the bloodstains or the unidentifiable poison that had killed him, but because of the poem, the cryptic verse tucked inside a book that had been found near the man's body, the symbol of something bigger than just one man's death. It started with a chance encounter. Abbott was working late, the dull hum of his bank office buzzing around him. His mind wandered, as it often did, to a cold case that had fascinated him since childhood. He'd read about the Somerton Man in the pages of an old book. The unsolved nature of the case gnawed at him, and in his gut, he felt there was something important buried in the details. Something that had escaped the authorities all these years. A moment of obsession overtook him, just like it had taken hold of every investigator before him. Only they had all given up. Their efforts reduced to half-hearted attempts and dead-end theories. But Abbott wasn't one to quit. Night after night he pored over every photograph of the body, examined each angle of the investigation, dissected the minimal evidence with the mind of a scientist. He wasn't just solving a case, he was solving an enigma that defied logic. What was Temem Shud? Who had left that scrap of paper in the glove compartment of a car, its ink faded by the hands of time, and what had driven the man to die on that lonely beach? 10:00 p.m., Abbott sat in his dimly lit study. Pages of old police files sprawled before him when a breakthrough came. A connection? Or was it a clue that he had missed all these years? The poem. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. It was an ancient Persian text, the words cryptic and philosophical. Why had this book been in the Somerton Man's possession? Why did the back of the book bear strange markings? A code no one had ever cracked. Abbott's heart raced. Could it be a cipher? He wasn't the first to think so. Others had tried and failed. But his intuition was different. He knew something was out there, waiting to be uncovered. The realization settled over him like a storm cloud. This was no ordinary case. This was a piece of a larger puzzle, and it had been waiting for him to find it. Weeks passed, and Abbott's obsession grew. His days as a banker slipped away in the haze of letters and cryptograms. He pored over the strange markings, tracing every angle of the mysterious code. Until one night, in the quiet of his study, it happened. The cipher cracked. The letters formed words, then sentences, revealing a name. The name that had been lost to history, locked away for decades. A woman. The key to everything. Her name was Jessica Thompson. Abbott stared at the screen. his heart pounding in his chest. Could it be? He scrolled through every newspaper article, every police record, and there it was, a photograph of Jessica Thompson, a woman who had lived in the same city as the Somerton Man, a woman who had been alive when the body was discovered. Abbott's mind raced. The pieces began to fit together, slowly but surely. Jessica Thompson was linked to the man on the beach. She had known him. She had to have known him. But who was he? A spy? A lover? A victim of a government cover-up? The answers remained elusive, but Abbott couldn't let it go. The more he uncovered, the deeper the mystery seemed to grow. 7:00 p.m. Abbott was back in his office, scrolling through photographs of Jessica, comparing the dates, the locations. He felt the weight of history pressing down on him. The police had missed this. The government had missed this. Abbott had found the thread that connected them all. His voice trembled as he picked up the phone, dialing the authorities, knowing what he was about to reveal would shake the case to its core. Jessica Thompson, he said, his voice tight with disbelief. She knew him. She was the key. The Somerton Man wasn't just a random victim. He was connected to something much bigger. In that moment, Abbott knew. He had solved a case that had eluded governments, detectives, and cryptographers for nearly 75 years. The name of the Somerton Man had been right there, hidden in plain sight, buried beneath layers of time. Waiting for someone like him, an unlikely banker turned amateur sleuth, to crack it open. The next few days were a blur. Abbott's revelation made headlines worldwide. The cold case had finally been solved. But even as the world celebrated the breakthrough, Abbott couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. Something even deeper and darker. After all, if a random man could solve a case that had defeated governments, what else could be hiding in the world's oldest cold cases? And so, Derek Abbott's obsession with the Somerton Man, a man who had died in the shadows of history, became more than just a fascination. It became a reminder. Sometimes the answers aren't where we expect them to be. Sometimes they're locked away in the most unlikely places, waiting for someone to dig them out. Abbott had cracked the code. But the real mystery, it seemed, was just beginning.